Hi everybody, Sonia Rollins. Thank you for joining me for this edition of BACC Talk. I am excited to have a guest with me today. We're going to talk about some great things. Chris Chandor, who is the Senior Vice President of Development for the Davis Companies. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you
Glad
for
to be
coming.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was saying to you before we started, and I'm kind of excited to talk about today. The Davis Companies is a long-standing company. They've done a lot of great projects in Burlington and the surrounding communities. And I think sometimes as residents, you know, certainly business owners sometimes pay a little bit more attention to who has what, right? Mm-hmm. But as residents, we hear company names and we see different developments, but sometimes we don't link them. So tell us a little bit about the Davis Companies.
So the Davis Companies is a fully integrated real estate investment and services company. We've been around for a little over 40 years in one form or another.
Right.
We have done some work recently in and around Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2010, we started the renovation of Burlington Woods 1 and 3.
Right.
For
people who know, that's the Mall Road area.
Yes,
Burlington
exactly.
Woods. Yep.
We've also been 67 South Bedford, where Leahy Clinic is.
Yes.
And also the iRobot campus just north of Burlington and Bedford.
Exactly, exactly. So you've been, 40 years, you're
Yep.
no newbie to development,
Exactly.
right? So it's been around for a while. And you've done some projects that are long-standing.
Yep.
What we know is, Class A type office space
Yes.
in Burlington. The exciting part to me is that, you're doing a great residential project
Yes.
right now, and the Davis Companies is not new to residential. You've done residential in other communities.
No, not at all. We've done a lot of residential up and down the East Coast.
Right.
The Reserve at Burlington is our latest project here in town of Burlington.
Yeah.
Back in 2013, we bought Burlington Center, since rebranded the Center, and that is a approximately 50-acre campus that had 4 existing office buildings on it.
Exactly.
And a fifth undeveloped lot that was approved for an office building back in 2001 timeframe.
It's kind of funny how the years go by, right? Yeah.
Well, it is amazing. I was actually working for Trammell Crow back in those days when it was a Trammell Crow project, so I worked on a number of those buildings back in a prior life. But we were very happy to be able to work with the town of Burlington on what we're bringing to market here in the next 60 days, which is the Reserve at Burlington.
Right, and for people who don't know, who are watching, the Reserve at Burlington is the new development of residential for rent units.
Yes.
That are on Cambridge Street, and I always say the Londana spot, because who doesn't
Yep.
know where Londana's is, right? So
Yep.
The Londana spot and behind there, and how many units are being built there?
It's 270 units.
270
Yep.
units. And so this is the part, I want to touch on 2 things because one thing leads to the other, right? Burlington was predominantly a office space. All of that area had office space in it. They were building, like you said, those were commercial buildings that were really office space buildings, like the Class A. And the marketplace has changed for that, Chris, right? I mean, it's not really, I find that the Class A office space, there's of course a need for it, but the marketplace has changed, that there wasn't as much a need as there was necessarily a need for residential. Would that be a true statement?
Absolutely. I mean, there's still a need for both office and residential, but we're changing as developers these days, where in the old days you used to have your office over here, your resi over here, your retail over here, and now it's that live, work, play. You're trying to bring the residential and the office and the retail together so that people can walk from one location to the other instead of having to drive.
Correct. And what I love about Burlington and the forethought of the planning that had happened here is that, the single-family residential neighborhoods still live. They are still there. But that multifamily use, like you said, I think the average resident who's doing that, it's a different lifestyle right now, and they're looking at it a little bit differently.
It is, absolutely. I mean, the typical renter in many projects, you expect some of the younger professionals on one hand, but also there's a demand for the fully independent senior, kind of that 60, 70-year-old completely independent, but maybe doesn't want to have to shovel their sidewalks and weed their gardens anymore, but wants to stay in Burlington. Or whatever community they're in, and we're trying very hard to meet that demand.
Correct, and the part that I think you nailed on is that they're trying to stay in their community, right? I mean,
Yes.
we're talking Burlington now, so we'll stay there. But I think in any community,
Absolutely.
you're a single family a single family property owner. You've done 50 years in town, or 10 or 15, whatever the number is, but you really want to stay. You don't want ownership anymore, so you need another type of a residential portfolio that allows you to do that.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about this part, because I think also a lot of people don't really understand it. 40B, right, which is what this project was approved under. Is that the right way to say it?
Yes.
And it's what's known as a friendly 40B. So
Yes.
we kind of chatted about this again before, and we'll talk about it in the second portion of this a little bit more. But I think that it's almost like a perceived swear word to say 40B, right? And if you could kind of just talk about the friendly 40B process by comparison.
Sure. I mean, it really all it is a different way of getting your entitlements. I mean, what we were talking about before we started is that the project, I don't think it was all that different whether we had done it through a conventional zoning process or through a 40B. And that's because the town, working very collaboratively with the town, with the selectmen, with the planning board, with all the town departments, we're in support of seeing more apartment housing options in Burlington, as long as they were close to public transit, close to 128, close to the denser commercial and retail areas. This was an ideal location for this.
Right.
And because we did it through 40B, Burlington got credit for 100% of the units on what they call the subsidized housing inventory.
Yes.
And that allowed as you know, through 40B, you have to be at 10, you don't have to, but you're supposed to be at 10% of your units considered affordable. And this allows Burlington to be at, I think we'll be over 13%.
Which is significant.
When this project comes online.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is significant. And you know what? You don't have to technically.
Of course.
But I think sometimes, but you do in theory, because I think sometimes what happens is what people perceive 40B does, which is someone can come in and then go ahead and do a project. So the collaboration of somebody like the Davis Companies and the town of Burlington doing that together then allows for the town and the developer to be able to make a project that they want to make, hit their 10% housing stock, not have 40Bs just be placed or affordable housing be placed, because by right that could happen, I guess. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. And now if somebody comes forward with a project that you don't like, you're no longer vulnerable to
You're
that.
no longer vulnerable to it, which I think is a big change or a big step.
Yep. And one thing I would like to stress too is that when you come see the Reserve at Burlington, every single unit, the finishes, the feel, everything is identical. You're not going to know whether your unit or the unit that you look at across from your unit, is that an affordable person or is that a market person? You won't know unless you ask them. There's no difference between any of the units, and they're nice units. They're
nice units.
Class A new construction. So this is
think
not
that's
low income housing. This is quality housing.
And I'm glad you said that too, because I think that's also something that people confuse a little bit. Affordable housing, by comparison, is it's affordable to the community and the numbers within the community, right?
Yes.
So am I going to say this right? Is it 80% of the median?
You need to be making less than 80% of area median income, and that varies depending on household size. But if I approximated the range, this is really for people who are making probably between $50,000 and $75,000 a year.
Okay, that's the affordable portion, folks. So if you believe you qualify for that, then it's something you could certainly look into.
Absolutely.
Or less, of course. But I mean, it has to be a minimum. No, a maximum, probably.
Right, not more than that number,
right,
exactly.
I had coffee today, but maybe not enough. Okay, so so that part I think is, I'm glad you said that, because I think sometimes people, the misconception is a little bit off.
Yes.
You know, that they think, oh, you're building a building that has low-income housing, and that's...
And it's going to devalue my single-family home somehow, and that's not the
really
case here.
Yeah. And I think the beauty of affordable housing, or I guess I'll say I think the beauty of affordable housing is it allows people to be able to live in their communities.
Yes.
Communities that they've either grown up in or work in. And it takes away that stigma of one person is low income versus the other, like you said, because the building, it's all inclusive that way, which I think is great.
And there's lots of people in all the service industries, you know, the restaurants, the hotels, the mall, everything like that, who are driving long distances to get to their jobs every day. Now those people have a place to live here in the community, and it makes it easier for the employers in Burlington who need those jobs filled to fill them
close by.
because people can live here and work here.
Absolutely. You know what else people can do in Burlington? They can get their hair cut if you want to do that. So here's Chamber Spotlight this week. Chris, is something fantastic. I was fortunate enough to go to Hair Saloon for our Chamber Spotlight. This is one of our new members. They are open on Middlesex Turnpike by the Starbucks across from the new Station 2 Firehouse. But I have to say I was a little jealous because it's a barber shop. And I have a great hairdresser, so I'm not looking to change. You can't change your hairdresser. That's like cheating. But I do have to say that when I walked in there, I thought it was pretty impressive. So I hope you guys will enjoy our little break for Chamber Spotlight and enjoy this little tidbit from Hair Saloon. We'll be right back. Hi everybody, Sonia Rollins. I am here at Hair Saloon. We are located at, what number Middlesex Turnpike? 201 Middlesex Turnpike. I'm here with Brian Curtin, who is the owner and franchisee for this particular location. Talk about the name to me, because I mean, it's a barbershop obviously, but it's a step above a barbershop. There's more to it than that. And talk about why the name Hair Saloon, when did it start, all that good stuff.
Sure. So Hair Saloon started about 22 years ago in St. Louis. And it was started as sort of, over time, the traditional barbershops just got less and less. And the founder, a guy, Tom Twellman, he was looking for something. The unisex salons had kind of replaced the barbershops, and guys want something different. And so he started Hair Saloon. The name comes from, if you think back to the 1800s, the westward expansion, the saloon was one of the first buildings built in most towns.
Yeah.
And it was the social place, but it was also in many cases the courthouse, even the church, and the barbershop. And
right.
We're the saloon because we want it to be a place that the guys can come and feel comfortable and relax. And when you say it's more than a barbershop, it is. For us, it's about as much to do with the restoration of men as it is with men's haircuts.
It is very interesting because obviously I wouldn't come here, but I have to admit we're walking around this place and it's really quite a unique environment, because you obviously have the televisions and you have different game tables, but it really kind of, what's the right word? Women go into hair salons and they're pampered, right? And in this particular space, when you walk in here, you feel that sense of pampering, except for men. Would that be a good way to say it?
Yeah. And it's very much, we went for sort of that club-like atmosphere.
Right.
And that's why, and you mentioned the TVs and the checker tables, we put a lot of focus on the waiting area.
Right.
We want people to, we say it's a place where guys can go to feel comfortable.
Right.
And so that the haircut it's not an errand, it's something that's enjoyable. And something they look forward to. And so we want people to hang out. In fact, we had a mom brought in her two sons yesterday to get ready back to school, and when they were done, they hadn't finished their checkers game. And she's like, "Is it okay if they finish?" We're like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Right.
So they stayed a while, finished their checkers, and then they left. And that's what we like to see, people to come here and obviously get a great haircut, but also enjoy what we have.
I know that when I walked in, I noticed something about a shoe shine and things like that. What can people expect? Like, is there a level of services, different levels that you can do, or is there a standard and then add-ons, or talk about that?
All our haircuts include our on-the-house amenities. So our, what we call our classic haircut, and we always have somebody like Carly on, who's our saloon coordinator.
Yes.
She's going to greet whoever comes through the front door, offer them a beverage.
Great.
Coffee, tea, water, soft drinks, whatever it may be. The haircut itself, you get the haircut. It automatically includes a shampoo. I'm sure you noticed each station has the shampoo sink right there. We wrap up with a hot towel and a mint just to go out feeling fresh. And then you can always get your shoes shined. That's included as well. And you can, in the afternoons, in the evenings, and weekends, we have a shoe caddy on duty, or you can drop off your shoes during the day and pick them up the next day.
Oh, I love that.
But we kind of take care of everything.
And you have your own line.
Yeah, so Hair Saloon Black is our own line of products.
Yeah.
It was specifically designed for Hair Saloon, and it's got everything from shampoos, conditioners, the waxes, the creams, right down to the shaving, the aftershave balm, and it's really great stuff. A lot of the customers comment on things like in the conditioner, it's got peppermint, and you can kind of feel that tingle in your scalp when you're doing it. It's good stuff.
Station 2, which is the New Burlington Fire Station, the second one outside, just reopened. And you have your Everyday Heroes program, which is great, 25% off for all first responders. It's almost like a perfect marriage that they're across the street, right?
So, quite honestly, when I was looking at the space and I said, what are they building across the street? And they told me, Station 2. And it was an added bonus to being here because of how we feel about the first responder community, to have them right across the street. And since they've been open, a few of them have definitely been over. In fact, some of the team here went over when they had an open house and took a tour of the place. And
nice.
I haven't been there yet, but they said it's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
So it's nice to have neighbors like that.
Fantastic. And then the other discount program that you have, which is really great, is you offer a senior citizen discount.
Yeah,
correct?
so seniors, weekdays before noon, we have a discount on our classic service, which just makes it nice for them to be able to come in and get everything and walk out feeling like a champion.
All right, let's ask the question of the day. If you were to tell somebody something that you wanted them to know about the hair salon, like what would that comment be? What's the takeaway of what you want your customer to know?
Yeah.
Or your potential customer to
Sure.
know?
We want them to know that they're going to come in and they're going to get an individual experience, that they're going to walk away from feeling relaxed and rejuvenated. And when they leave, we take the information and we put notes in their file. So the next time they come back, we can pull it up and see, okay, this is what was done. So it's not the customer, we get to know the customer, we get to know what they want
Right.
and what they like. And it's, some like it longer, some like it shorter, whatever that may be. The fact that they're eligible for our Everyday Heroes discount, that's in there, so they don't have to tell us every time, oh, by the way, I'm a first responder. We know that about them.
Right.
And it's developing that relationship that we care about our customers, and we want to be part of the community, and as that, we want to welcome the members of the community.
I love it. Okay, so for our Chamber Spotlight today, Brian, tell everybody your hours, your store hours here. The salon's open, or the saloon, I should say, is open, what, Monday through?
Monday through Thursday, we're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Fridays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we're closed on Sundays because there's more
Everybody
important
should
things to do.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, so, and I mean guys. Guys, come check this out. Ladies, you can come hang, get yourself a Tootsie Roll. And mint, because I gotta say it's really fun here. You could play checkers while you bring your kids here for a haircut. It's perfect. So the Hair Saloon, it's located at 201 Middlesex Turnpike. Brian Curtin, our owner, franchisor for this area. I hope you do amazing things here, and welcome to Burlington.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. I mean, it was a good place, Hair Saloon. I was a little jealous, but luckily for me, they let me sign the Ball of Fame. So if you go in there, you can see that there's a little Ball of Fame on the wall and people get to sign it. So I couldn't get my hair cut there, but I could absolutely sign something and have myself a Tootsie Roll. I did have a Tootsie Roll. It was good. So Hair Saloon, please go check them out. They're doing great things over there. And I love that they do that first responder 25% off. It's a really nice gesture on his part. And right across from Station 2, you can check that out while you're there too. All right, I'm back with Chris Chandor. And we were talking about the Davis Companies' newest project, which is called, tell me again.
The Reserve at Burlington.
The Reserve at Burlington, which is the newest development of apartments for rent in Burlington. You are expecting it to be open when?
Right now, we're optimistic that we're going to have our first units temporary certificate of occupancy in probably the third week of October. We'd be looking to have people move into the building probably right around the 1st of November, maybe a couple days before that.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So that's really not that far. I mean, we're acting like it's really only a couple of months.
No, it's close.
How long has the build-up been happening?
Oh gosh, I mean, we started the process with the town back in late 2015 was when we started kind of conceptualizing this, and then 2016, I think we were thinking about doing it as a zoning change, and then again working really collaboratively with the planning board and the selectmen and all the other town departments. We came up with the friendly 40B concept, which had some really big benefits for the town in terms of meeting their subsidized housing inventory requirements.
Correct. So talk about that a little bit, Chris, about the importance of partnership, with a community when you're going in to do a project like this, and what that means to the Davis Companies, but just in general. I mean, if you could really touch on how that helps the process for like the average person watching,
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, working with a community like Burlington, it's great to be able to come in and have a process that is easy for us as developers to understand how we're going to get to where we can actually bring the project to reality. So I think Burlington is very forward-thinking with meeting the 40B requirements. There are a number of communities around here that fight them tooth and nail. They're afraid of I don't know what. And for us bringing this project through the 40B process with Burlington was I'm not going to say it was pleasurable, but it was.
You could try.
Yeah, it was a very thorough process, and we're very happy with the project that we got at the end of the day. We started construction in late 2017, and it takes about 2 years to build something like this.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I know, because you go by and then you start to, you see it first. I think the community always sees something first because the build-out goes happen, right? And then your eye becomes a little bit accustomed to it. It kind of dies down a little bit, and then you start to notice it when it starts to come to fruition. And I love that you said it's not always, you know, look, no project is pleasurable all the way through, right? Because there's always like the growing pains of getting through. But a partnership like that is really valuable. And I think sometimes we, you know, people in the chamber or people in the business community, we understand some of that. When someone's watching a show like this, I think it's important to kind of explain how that partnership really is critical, because it allows the community to be able to capture what they need, and it allows the developer to be able to do some of the business that they need to do, right? And if everybody feels a little bit of pain, but a project comes out good, then that's really a success at the end of the day, you know? So I thank you guys for being willing to do that, because I think that is, it really is a major component. You know, in my other world, of course, I sell real estate, and I see people who really need that portion of the housing stock is missing. And I think Burlington is really starting to see that. They're coming forward with it. You know, they're allowing for projects like this to happen. They're working collaboratively with people. They're making sure the affordable stock stays in place, because we cannot take for granted that not everybody is making a six-figure income, and not everybody can afford particular rents. And given that you want to give younger people in the community an opportunity, older people in a community an opportunity. I mean,
and it's so valuable to the major employers in town to know that there is more housing options for some of their lower paid workers.
Yeah, and you said that before we went to break, and that is the truth. People need that. You know, the businesses around here rely on those employees, and the closer we get them to it, the better. Okay, so in our last few minutes, tell me, how can people go see it? What type of units are in there? How many bedrooms?
So we have a mix of studios, 1-bedrooms, 2-bedrooms, and 3-bedroom units. Pretty standard.
Great.
We opened a temporary leasing office in our marketing trailer, which is right at our front door. If you come in the Reserve at Burlington and Burlington Center, or the Center at Burlington entrance right there on Corporate Drive, and come into the back, you'll see our leasing trailer set up right in front of the building.
Okay.
We hope to be in the building, like I said, in October.
Great.
We are not able to take people into the building yet for tours until we get all of our life safety squared away. But we hope to be able to do that soon for hard at tours.
Okay.
We will have photographs of existing units that are coming online right now for people to see them.
Perfect.
And we've got a ton of really fabulous amenities here in this project. We've got one gigantic outdoor courtyard with a pool in it. We've got 2 smaller courtyards that are a little bit more intimate, a little bit more private. And then we've got what we're calling the backyard, which is actually outdoors at grade. You'll be able to walk on the grass, sit around the fire pit there, that I think people are really going to love. We have a living wall in our club room. We have a business center. We have a fitness center with a lot of great equipment in it. I think people are really going to be impressed with the amenities. And the last thing that's not the last thing, but another thing that's a huge amenity is 100% of our parking for residents is indoors. So year-round, you're going to be able to park your car indoors, park close to one of the 3 elevators at you know, east, west, and center elevators, and go right upstairs. So if it's raining or snowing or 95 degrees out, you're going to be able to park indoors all the time.
I might live there.
come on over. We can get you
Exactly.
signed up.
You know what? Let me just think about if I really need anybody else with me, because that's a pretty cool
Yeah.
thing. I mean, the amenities are outstanding.
Yeah.
Plus, you're so close to everything because you go out onto Cambridge Street. You can get public transportation on Cambridge Street. You have all the other amenities around you.
Yep.
God bless you. You can have oysters on
You can go to
Mondays at
Londania,
Londana's.
you can go get your Mercedes, right?
Absolutely, everything is right.
Everything's
around
right
you.
there.
Yeah. Okay. So the Reserve at Burlington.
Yep.
And there is a leasing office there, folks. So please go see it. Are they open Monday through Friday? Are they? What do you know? Is it?
We're
like
actually open 7 days a week right
Oh,
now in our
perfect.
pre-leasing
Okay.
stage. I should have had the hours available.
that's okay.
But it's pretty much 9 to 5.
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
And I think it's 9 to 5 on Saturday and maybe 12 to 5 on Sunday.
Okay, so check it out, folks, online if you need to see it.
Yep.
But certainly midday type, the traditional business hours, Monday through Friday, and on the weekends, just give them a call to check it out to make sure as well. Chris Chandor, Vice President, Development of the Davis Companies, Thank you for joining us.
Thank
we
you,
wish
Sonia.
you continued success.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, thanks so much, and thank you for watching us this evening for BACC Talk. I'm Sonia Rollins.